Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to Retrek. I'm Captain Jim. With me, of course, are Admiral Elliot.
Hi there.
And Dr. Squee.
Dragon! Almost lost it.
And we're here to talk about the premiere 2 episodes of Season 5 of Lower Decks, as well as an animated series episode that's, as will become clear as we go through, is quite closely linked to them.
Yes, and in advance of the latest Ferengi statement today, I did sell all my hair and beard. It turns out it wasn't that bad.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all fun and games in the UK at the minute, but anyway, we're not here to worry about that. Yes, so the first episode, Dos Cerritos, or as Paramount Plus calls it, because they can't even name their own episodes correctly, Dos Cerrito.
Always promising.
Yeah, I know we often rant about Paramount Plus, but I've been doing like when I'm getting ready to go to bed, I just stick some Star Trek on to fall asleep to. And I've been redoing Voyager from season 1. And I realised that even though the Netflix I've got is the one that includes the adverts, I still prefer to watch it on Netflix than on Paramount, even though it doesn't have adverts on that. And that, I think that tells you something about how...
I've had an absolute nightmare with Paramount this week. It's been so hard to get it to work again.
Yeah.
Because I cancelled my subscription, obviously, after... Was it after Strange New Worlds?
That will have been the last one.
Or was it Discovery?
Discovery was the last show we got.
Discovery was the last one, yeah.
Yeah. What a nightmare. So, get 1 week free for rejoining. But on the 1 week free, you can only link in from your Prime Video to specific programs. You can't go into Paramount Plus. All it has is 3 programs that it keeps showing on the loop. Come look at this.
Well, that's odd.
So I've had to go straight in and start my subscription from paying subscription early, even with a week's free trial to watch stuff that I want to watch.
It's a bizarre streaming service.
It is so bad.
Well, bizarre read shit.
Rose says hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hello,
Good evening, Rose.
Nice to see you again.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Dos Cerritos, regardless of whether you watched it on Paramount or not. We start off somewhere in the beta quadrant, and there's this. What are these aliens? I remember them, but I can't place the episode they're in. The ones that got the weird.
It's the one where it's the collector in it. That's
is it one of them? Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's because he's even got the same twirly nose thing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I knew it from somewhere. I just couldn't quite place it.
I can't remember the actor who played him in the.
I can't remember.
I don't know his name, but it was in Warehouse 13, and he was also in quite an arc of Frasier where he was engaged to Daphne.
Is it Sol something?
Sol
Maybe,
Rubens?
yeah.
That might be it.
That rings a bell, but yeah.
And I think even though it's the last season, I think Lower Decks has had a bit of a boost in the budget because the makeup on Tendi were that good. I didn't recognise her in the scene.
The second she spoke, though, I got that. I was thinking it's that looks kind of familiar. That looks a little bit like.
I was thinking, that's familiar, and the voice is a bit familiar, and then it's sort of when it said, "This is what I needed," and that's her.
Yeah.
I love the fact that first of all she's on her kick, obviously, of trying to prevent them from killing everyone, and then it's the person who's like just trying to pull out the ornate gold kind of ribbon from him, like, and he's like, "It was a family heirloom" or something like that. It was just great. It's just Lower Decks is back in true style.
Yeah, it's a good fun opener, and then we get the credits, and they've added to the battle scene again.
I spotted 3.
I spotted 3 things. What have you got?
I've got the Green Hand. From the original series.
Yeah.
From Orion Web.
Yep.
And I got Voyager.
Yep, there were the 3 I noticed. Squee, did you get any more? Or
no, just those ones. And it's very in keeping with, it seems like, Lower Decks to just keep on adding to the madness that is in the credits. It's just great.
Now, I've got a theory on this because every time we add to credits, one of them ends up being the main sort of the story arc. And I've got a feeling it's going to be the Folians this season.
Oh, do you think?
Yeah, based on this first episode.
Oh, well, we'll get there. Tell us when we get there. And then back on the Cerrito. Boimler's really excited because he thinks he's going to be in Fleet magazine, but it turns out he's been dropped from it and he doesn't even make the top 15 honourable mentions.
But Naomi Wildman does, which is really good fun. That was a nice little callback, I felt.
But she's only a 10-year-old.
Yeah, maybe you were like number 31. There's loads of honourable mentions in here.
Yeah, poor Boimler. And meanwhile, we've got Rutherford, who's been overdoing it because he hasn't got Tendi. And there's a bit of a motif going on because Rutherford's got a bit of stubble in this episode, and the next episode, Boimler's trying to grow a beard. I don't know. I
think I would assume that one was just a coincidence. Like, you never know with Lower Decks.
You never know. You never know.
No, you don't. Maybe. You don't. But that would be if you've picked up on that, I will give you I owe you some latinum.
Maybe they thought the release date was going to be a week later, and they were going for November, but instead they've released it in October. So it's nice to get back with the characters and everything. And then, they do mention that they find a quantum fissure, but then they say, "Oh, we've had a lot of quantum fissures lately."
It was when they said quantum. It's when they said quantum fissure. I'm going like, "Oh, we're into some time travel shenanigans here." I was instantly excited.
This is why I think we're going to get Folians. Are going to be behind it because in the Folian web, it's not called I don't think they call it quantum fissure in that episode, but it is a parallel universe, to mirror universe, because that's where the Defiant goes. So so that I'm thinking that it's something to do with them.
Remind me, in that episode, because I know in the Enterprise episode they kind of established that, but is it established in the original episode that it's a quantum or similar?
No, you've just got the Defiant is just sort of fading in and out of the universe, and it's fading in and out of the universe, and it's not sort of said where it's fading to.
And then Enterprise picks it up.
But then Enterprise picks it up like it's actually gone to mirror universe. But you've got the Folians all around that area, haven't you? So it makes you I'm thinking, is it all going to be linked together through that?
Probably probably some of the coolest episodes in Enterprise. Like that edition didn't feel, because there were so many times in Enterprise where stuff felt so forced, and that one actually fit really well. It kind of fits everything that's going before. Yeah.
And obviously that linked into Discovery as well. So the Tholium web, mostly unintentionally, became a really pivotal episode, really.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sort of make you... I've got a feeling that we could be going to Folians. And I'm quite sure we haven't covered Folian web yet.
I don't think we have.
It'd be
No.
quite nice if we get an excuse to cover that episode because I think it's a great episode.
Yeah, it is a good one. No, I think we did cover it, actually. I think we covered it when they referenced it in Discovery. Anyway, we'll check. Then we meet...
I don't normally cover another episode with Discovery.
No, I know. I
don't remember us doing an episode. I remember us talking about it, but...
we'll see.
I mean, this one was a great... Like, I love the fact this gave us an excuse to bring in a animated series on this one.
An interesting fact thing, through the 70s and 80s when we had real low amounts of Star Trek models, and I'm talking on 3 or 4 different ships out there, they did an Enterprise version from the Folian Web that was glowing dark.
That's cool.
And you got... and it came like with the Batmobiles, how they do now, where they've got the cardboard cut out so you could have the Folian Web beams behind it.
Oh, excellent. So, yeah, we get an alternate Cerritos then, and the captain is Captain Becky Freeman.
Yep. Yeah, and it's oh god, this was just so much fun. It's first of all, you've got the runner, which is kind of a classic of this kind of thing of like, but where's my counterpart? And they never reveal it until the end. That's a nice bit of business.
But I think a nice switch to do here is like every time we've ever had this, it's always been the Mirror Universe, good and bad. Mm-hmm. And this one, it's just all we have is a 0.375 variance.
Yeah, that was
really
quite...
Universe.
That's very little text.
It's like we've just made one little decision each that's made us slightly different.
Which is very Red Dwarf.
I was thinking it's very Red Dwarf, but certainly very Lower Decks to have like all the other Mirror Universe ones are such a drastic difference. Like this crew is slightly dissimilar to us. You know, it's great. Yeah. It's such a fun premise, and like all the way through. I don't know how to feel about it. All the way through from the beginning, where we establish, oh, Christ's sake, purple haired guy, Boiler. When we established Boiler from the other universe, I was convinced he was going to be like I was a little disappointed. Well, I had the beard for a start, and secondly, it's like they just build up like, oh, it's such an amazing guy. It's like, there's no turn. It's like, I know we had this turn with Becky's character, but yeah.
He was just awesome. Awesome Boimler from the Mirror Universe.
But I almost wondered if you're not going to have him, like if you are just going to have the reveal that he's awesome, it's almost like it would have been fun to have a scene where it's like, oh shit, you are just awesome. Like, you know, I feel almost like, I actually, for this whole episode, I would say, I know part of the storyline, the B storyline becomes the A storyline in the next episode. But I think this could have easily been a two-parter, to be honest with you. I thought you could have played a lot more with the characters. With 22 minutes, there wasn't a lot of time to dive into.
Yeah, they didn't do a right lot.
Yeah,
we got a couple of nice moments along the way, but
I think the thing that they've said that like this is the third day of these quantum fissures in a month that they've had to come across, and you have to close them because other realities might leak through, or they might slip through to other realities, which is what happens here. I think that we're going to see more of them later in the
maybe
if this is the idea for the series. If this is the idea for the series, I'm so fucking in. Like, please, just alternate reality versions all the way through.
I mean, multiverses are the in thing anyway. Well, not so much. They were when Marvel started it, and they've managed to.
Yeah, but it'd be just typical Lower Decks.
Everybody's interest in it, but
it'd be just typical Lower Decks once everyone's fed up with multiverses to actually do a season with multiverses.
Yeah, well, that's what I think.
And actually make it awesome and enjoyable. Yeah, this is what we want to see, not stupid shit.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that they argue over which one's the Prime Universe. No, we're the Prime Universe. And it's like, of course, that's what each universe would think, you know.
Oh, and it was a fight between the Ransoms. It's like, no, you handsome bastard. We're the Prime Universe. Oh, no, you gorgeous hunk of meat. It's like, it was just...
And I liked Shaxx as well, where it's like, I became really strong from breaking Cardassian's wrist. So did I.
And of course, the Mariner like it's always a theme throughout the show of Mariner, like her fight between her rebellious side and wanting to be like secretly wanting to help out and actually be a good member of the crew. So this was a great kind of parallel to see her being a real bitch, being like torturing people, everything she stands against, and it's like you've got to wonder if this will work against her ever wanting to be captain. I was like, no, I saw what I became, and like I'm happy to be the fuck about and have some fun.
Yeah, and it personifies that inner struggle that Mariner's always had, which is a nice way of putting it on screen.
I wonder if this is going to be a theme throughout the series. If maybe we are going to see Mariner realizing that maybe it wasn't always her fate to be a captain. Like, maybe she'll find something within Starfleet that's different, or even something outside. I think she's probably always wanted to be Starfleet, but I wonder if Command's going to turn out not to be for her.
I don't know. I think it could be that this version of Mariner turns out to be really good at Command because she's seeing Becky as well. Like being better, that I won't be like that. I want my crew to respect.
It's possible, but it'd be really interesting. Like God, what was the other character? Fucking, my memory is escaping me today. But yeah, I'm sure there was another character who kind of like was following this arc. It might have been another show, but like following an arc of being one thing and then suddenly sort of swerve at the
end. Prodigy, yeah.
That's exactly it. Suddenly realizes.
I know it's been some weeks since we watched that.
Okay, I'm going to get my excuse now. I've moved. I had a play, and Mum fell and broke her hip in the last kind of couple of weeks. It's been a bit eventful. Oh, she's good. Yeah, she's good as can be with a broken hip. Put a pain inhibitor in. She's doing all right.
Good.
Yeah, luckily I'll be here now to look after. The idea, sorry, just fucking while we're on this. Yeah, the idea for anyone at home was that I was going to move back for a few months to help Mum sort out a house because I was wanting to move to a place of my own from staying with a friend of mine anyway. Might be here a little bit longer. That's right, with a broken hip, but fucking lucky I was here, let's just say.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they wouldn't release her. But anyway, that's been my couple of weeks. So yeah, if I'm a bit sketchy on details, I'm going to cut myself some slack today, and also for my sound issues.
And I had my COVID booster jab yesterday, and I felt like I've been underwater all day. So basically, Elliot, the show's on you.
And I tried to stop smoking, so I'm all...
Oh, for fuck's sake, no! Who's steering this ship? Willow, take the wheel!
Apologies, anyone, if we're not quite on form. Anyway.
Willow says she's fucking on fire, though. You bitches know nothing.
Meanwhile, in Tendy's storyline, they're going to go retrieve a ship, and they come across the blue Orions.
Oh, this is so good. I to begin with, honestly, because I'm sort of rewatching the animated series as we watch them. I keep on meaning to just sit down and watch them all, but I don't remember much from them. So I was like, is this their kind of piss take on the, like, because there's quite a few species now, like Romulans and Remans and the Andorians and their sister. I'm like, is this their way of taking the piss out of that? Then I was like, no, owner, this seems like something from the animated series. Looked it up, surely enough.
It was really bizarre in animated series because we had established in TOS Orion as how they are green, and then they just went, they spelled exactly the same, but we'll pronounce it different and a different colour, and they'll wear a stupid uniform.
It was.
Yeah, I looked it up. I looked it up because, as I say, I kind of figured it. Maybe there is a history, and the animated series did something to me. Looked it up, and the prevailing theory on the article I read was basically it's animated, like it was animated, which wasn't treated that seriously, and like they just basically, Orion's cool, that's how we pronounce it. No one just basically gave enough of a shit at the time.
And anyway, they defeat them with using laughing gas, which is quite good fun.
Well, it's like I like it with Tandy how she saves one. And you get the rest of the crew going, but we want to be like you, that we want to be so good at killing people that we can go up and do what we want to do. I want to dance and I want to.
Yeah.
And I love the idea that this kind of myth has built around her as well, that she's like, she escaped by being the best pirate ever. It's like, no, I escaped by leaving.
Yeah. And meanwhile, in the main plot, then, this is Captain Becky replaces our Mariner because she wants to just be the mess about one instead of being the captain.
She's not enjoying it.
Oh, can we give a shout out also to the people who speak in metaphors? I love their argument, just like metaphor, fight. It's like we have no idea, as always, what they're talking about, but it's just.
And of course, we have Rutherford and Otherford.
That was so sweet. Otherford was one of my favorite things in this. It's like we've got spoilers, but in the next episode we've got Cutiny. Like there's loads of wonderful, like only Lower Decks could do it this well kind of words. And I love the fact that also, is it okay that Rutherford basically just monkeyed with his brain? It's like, is it up to him to decide that he needs friendship in his life? That seemed Star Trek morally ambiguous to me.
He's also dealing with himself, isn't he? He's sort of thinking, no, this is wrong. What I've done. I've gone too far. And I agree. And you can sort of see, and it teaches Rutherford, whatever happens, not to go too far with the implants, because at first he thinks they're absolutely brilliant until he learns that he's deliberately white-handed from his memory.
Oh, I agree. I just think it's like, it's not up to you to decide that for the other guy, though. I just... Unless he learned himself, makes sense.
Star Trek's got a history of this. I mean, going back to Star Trek Nemesis, where Data's like, B4, you're a little bit dodgy, so we're going to have to kill you now. Never mind.
Almost like, hold my beer. Hold my Romulan ale.
Like, before we kill you, we're going to try to overwrite everything about you with my program first, but if that doesn't work, then we'll kill you.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not saying it's a good precedent, but there is a precedent to this sort of thing. However,
and Tuvix, I don't think needs to
be. Yeah. However, it does give us where Rutherford gives Rutherford a hug with his extra hand that comes out, which I think's really brilliant.
Adorable!
But they realise what's going on pretty quickly with Mariner and Becky and switch them back.
Because you've got Mariner being polite and asking them for stuff. And then you've got Becky immediately goes, Mother, and she's like, you don't call me that.
It was kind of fun that it was her being affectionate, which basically gave away. And then on the console, she basically had incoming calls like, no, hang up.
Yeah.
And I mean, to Squee's point, I think they could have let this breathe a little bit more because it is wrapped up very, very quickly.
Which makes me think that we're going to get more of.
Oh, I think we probably will. Yeah,
this sort of thing through the season, because they do have a habit of doing that, and we've seen in every season where something happens in first episode, and there's an alien or something happening. Mm-hmm. And then we have one or two episodes where it's just summer stories. And then it comes back and hits us.
I think the anomalies are definitely going to play into it. And parallel universes.
We might not see this parallel crew again. But I think we're going to see other parallel crews.
Yeah.
And I do want to see the parallel. I do want to see the parallel crew that have feet for hands.
Definitely.
and feet for whatever else he was off to say.
Oh yeah, that was fun. It would be such a fun last kind of journey for this crew to see so many different versions of themselves.
It's a good way of sort of wrapping up everyone's arc by holding up a mirror to them, by showing them alternative versions of them. It's almost like a good way of fast tracking any character development that you need to do.
And it's also that where you're the best version of you here.
Yeah, I think that's what they're all going to realise, isn't it? The who they are is the best one, but. Meanwhile, the Blue Orions have declared war, which takes us into the second episode.
Well, not just war, they've put a complaint in that the work pirated fairly.
Exactly. So the second episode then, Shades of Green. starts with them sort of running this simulation, and we find out it's like a little tabletop simulation because a big bit of food drops on them, which is quite a fun sort of way of.
Well, this is
it's a
after
fun reveal.
Like, I do like how the mum comes and it's like, these are grown women here. You've got one of them's running basically the syndicate, and Tanya's stopping Starfleet as an officer. And yet the mum said, now, girls, you've had enough pillaging for one night.
Oh,
yes. I had to rewind it because I was like, wait, is this a flashback? Is this meant to be when the little girls were? It's like, no, this is happening now.
And I just like that the mum is still there. She's still... When they're at home, the mum still rules the roost.
Yeah.
No, it was nice. It's a nice bit of business.
Oh, just 10 more minutes. I've hardly pillaged anybody.
Whereas the Cerritos' main mission this episode is something we've talked about repeatedly, which is how does money work in the Federation, and they sort of skirt around that and have a bit of fun with that because they're in a society now that's decided to renounce capitalism.
They've just joined the Federation and they've just gone post-scarcity.
Yeah. So
that's where you don't need capitalism anymore when you reach post-scarcity, where you've got replicators.
Yes, exactly.
The only thing I will say is I think it's in the same scene as the kind of with the mum that Tandy finds out about pregnancy.
Yes, it's just
after.
Because my only thing is like, because this is one which has been used in a few different storylines when someone finds out someone's pregnant, starts treating them differently. This isn't a whole cloth new thing, shall we say. It always annoys me every time. It's like, they're treating me like I'm pregnant. I know I'm pregnant. Like, they know, so that they, like, why do they never figure out that they know? Like, because clearly the way they're acting is that they know. Just annoys me.
I think this puts a nice twist on that, though. There's this story when we get to the end when it's revealed about Tandy knowing and tells her she knows, and she goes,
it's a lovely wrap up.
Everybody else knows apart from Tandy. I
wasn't telling you so that you wouldn't stay, so you'll go back and do what you want to do.
Oh, it's lovely. Yeah, I agree with that. It just annoys me when it's like, well, they would just know that they knew. That's the only thing that would tell you.
Yeah, fair. And Boimler's giving pointers now. So this seems to be Boimler's arc for the season is...
Well, this is because
pinched. Yeah. He's borrowed the article on the alternate Boimler.
Do you know the episode titles? Yes, it's
the first one was Cerrito, and this is Shades of Green we're talking about now.
Yep.
Boimler's using the fleet article from the alternate universe of the alternate Boimler to sort of shape his own approach to everything, and this is where he's giving pointers.
I like that and it is the sort of thing from what we've seen of Boimler that he would have call it pointers.
Yeah, I like that. It's like Ensign Leffler had Leffler's laws, and obviously the Ferengi have the rules of acquisition, so this could be the new thing is Boimler's pointers.
And to be fair, his pointers make a lot of sense.
Yeah, they do. And it turns out it helps the away team.
I think
we've lost Dr. Squeeze volume. We shall await his return eagerly. But we'll carry on talking about it while he's down. So the I nearly said Orion then, but I meant Orion this time. We're just about getting you.
Oh, fuck. Should be on
I do like how the Orions keep telling the Orions to pronounce it properly.
Can I jump in on Boimler's rules? Because I missed that bit.
Yes, you can.
I just love the fact that he also nicked, like, it's a nice little follow on from the first episode as well, that he nicked them off his counterpart. I just like, and it's one of those things, just, it's a little mechanic. I don't think the rules are actually making him any better. I think it's giving him an excuse why he can do what he always could do. It just gives him the confidence. So I love that kind of thing. It's like we all know he's really capable, and we all know really the only difference between him and his counterpart, who sits in the chair all the time, as he kind of mentions, is the fact that he's just got the confidence to go. It's like, well, I know what I'm doing. How about I cover the console today? How, you know, while you're off doing this, Captain. You know, I thought it was nice.
Exactly.
Anyway,
and the Orions, the Orions have to have a space race with the Orions. Is the setup?
In Solar Yachts, which I thought was nice.
Yes, it was. It was good to see them again. I know they're not exactly the same as the Bajoran Solar Sailor, but the concept.
It's the same concept, and it is a scientifically proven concept that you could make one work.
Yeah, don't they use it also? Is it in Insurrection? Do they use some kind of form of solar?
Yes, the baddies in Insurrection have got like a massive solar scoop.
So it's even canonical. It's been used by different races already.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And Count Dooku had one in Star Wars as well. That was his ship was a solar ship.
Yeah, that did make a lot of sense.
Not a lot, but then much of the prequels didn't make a lot of sense. But we're not here to get bogged down in them. And this is where Tendi decides to stage the Cutiny.
Oh my god! I love the Cutiny. I love the fact that it's like, what are you doing? It's like, no, we're trying to be gentle on you because it's a Cutiny.
We're gonna have a non-violent mutiny. We're gonna have a Cutiny.
I mean, perfectly Tandy as well. And it's like, and when the person goes like, hey, maybe we can solve this with dance, and accidentally press a button which gets everything working.
Yeah.
It's just that whole thing of proving that it's like, just because your methods of violence work doesn't mean that you can't do it without it.
And what I love about it is that the other Orions are all up for it. They're like, I'd prefer not being violent. This is great.
Do you know how long it takes me to get the blood off my stabbing knife?
It's obviously that thing, because like we see Tandy is perfectly capable as a pirate Orion of assassinating people, killing people. She's perfectly capable of killing anybody she wants to. But she chooses to do things a different way. And we're seeing that with these other ones that have joined her, that they want to do their own thing. They're not always going to be great at killing people, but they want to dance while they're doing it.
And I love that idea, which they bring in throughout this episode, of the idea of, they're a savage, brutal race of pirates, but bureaucracy gets in the way. Like, there's rules to this shit.
Yeah.
It's just, it's great.
Back with the main crew then, the away team gets kidnapped, and this is when Boimler's decided to have a bit of fun. And it leads to, him having fun doesn't lead to the away team being kidnapped, but the away team does get kidnapped.
He lets them have an hour or so off.
Yes, exactly. And there's this good running joke about where he keeps speaking into a mariner's comm badge. And Ransom's like, at first he's like, oh, well done for sharing comm badges. And then the second time it's like,
guys.
and then the second time it's like, Boimler, do I need to send you a comm badge? Have you actually got one?
All the titles. I mean, it might take us a while to go through them all.
From previous shows, we've done them all, but I don't know the titles of all the new series coming up will be.
No,
I'm sure you've already thought of this, but if you go into IMDb, you can bring them all up. Maybe
I think
I tend, when we're looking at new Star Trek, I try to go in fresh on release day without any spoilers, so I don't even look up what titles are. I like that surprise every week of, and if you get a title, sometimes you can have expectations or
I wonder if we'll get a Shades of Blue as well, because we've had a Shades of Green.
Possibly.
That'd be fun. That'd be good.
So that we can have the Orions as well as the Orions represented. Yeah, so on the planet there's a great bit with these gardening robots where they go, hands up or I will prune you.
Well, it's here that Boiler finally has to admit to Ransom, doesn't he, that, I've lost my trainees, my young ensigns have been kidnapped, and Ransom straight away, let me guess, it was some capitalists.
Yes.
It's happening all over.
Well, that's the thing, like, it would be pretty chaotic for a little while. And you get the bit where he's like, I'm going to steal your motorbike. And they're like, that's okay, we'll replicate another one.
Yeah, it is a lovely idea to have the where Star Trek doesn't exist in a world without money. There's always been questions over the years by fans and non-fans alike of like, well, how would that work? There was even a book by Robert Llewellyn. We spoke about Red Dwarf before, like Crichton himself. Yeah. He wrote a book about what would happen. Like it was the UK was switching over to euros, so there was a load of cash being taken away to be disposed of, and they planned this heist to nick it, to then convert it. Like it was all kind of quite good fun. It kind of reminded me of that. It's like the day when money becomes useless, just it's fucking partying on the streets and people setting lights to it. It's great. Yeah. Which is ironic. Actually, it's an ironic episode to have the week where we had the budget this week in the UK. Yeah.
Perhaps they planned it. Who knows?
Like the interesting.
Well, Paramount Plus didn't.
It's like when they go to take the hover bike. Is it? Are we going to call it a hover bike?
We'll call it a hover bike.
Okay, so when they go to take the hover bike or speeder bike, the speeder bike, they're there commandeering this for post-scarcity business, and they're going, yeah, that's fine. We'll just go replicate another one. Not a problem. I like that. Most of the society has gone, yeah, if you need it, just take it.
Yeah. Well, that would be, I suppose, yeah. I mean, without getting too much into the philosophy of it, but yeah, I reckon there would be a period of adjustment where your instinct would still to be, hang on, that's mine. But then, yeah, in a post-scarcity society, you'd be like, yeah, all right.
Embraced it. And I assume it'll be like you'll have personal items of
like sentimental value.
Sentimental value, and they'll be different, and heirlooms. But then you'll have, I can just go get another vehicle whenever I want, or I can I can just transport now. I don't need this anymore to get around.
Yeah.
And you have that part where they're all queuing for stuff, and they go, hang on, why are we all queuing here?
Yes, that's good.
We can just go get what we want when we need it. We don't have to queue.
And with the race, then Tendi comes up with the solution, which is I'll destroy the treasure, and it'll mean that we both won. And then
but they get shot down by the Orions first. They're grout.
Sorry, they do, yeah.
And Tandy Rescue sorts it out. She Federation's a way out.
True. And I like how there's this really fast cut, because that is like the Star Trek solution is, well, I'll destroy it, and therefore it's a tie, and therefore everything's sorted out. And it cuts straight to the Queen, who's like, no, you both lose, so therefore both of you. I thought that was a good fun moment. Of course, all that, this is where the post-capitalism ties in, because they're like, well, we need to get rid of all this money once Tendi finds a way back to the ship. And it's like, right, well, I'll give my family all of this treasure then.
No, my favourite bit was when the parents, when they basically effectively lose everything. And they say it's like, oh, well, it was getting a lot. It's like, kind of death threats every week, the paperwork, all this stuff.
It'd be nice not to have death threats for a week or two.
Yeah.
I could just imagine when they get the riches back, it's like, oh, fuck, kids have to ruin everything. We're finally going to get to fucking retire. Now we got all this wealth again, bastards.
And the other subplot that we've had running then really is Tallinn and Rutherford. And Tallinn goes super efficient and gets the shuttle perfectly repaired.
It turns out she was actually trying to be nice to Rutherford.
Yes.
And do something with him to get him out of his missing Tendi. And
Yeah.
Being cut off from everyone.
I think it's a lovely little story because, like, she realised it once Rutherford tells her the reason he was making it take a long time. She does a very un-Vulcan thing and smashes it up again so that they get to build it all again. It's really nice.
Talk about going back to classic like plots from TV. This is like when Fonzie like he went through some sort of like thing whereby he lost all his confidence. So Richie Cunningham took his bike apart, so it forced him to put it back together, so he had to kind of go back to life basically. And then right at the end, Putsy takes it apart thinking he's doing himself the same favor, but he was fine by then, so it was like just basically fucked it up. But it just kind of reminded me of that very weirdly. And these guys, like, they've got deep cuts from all TV shows, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was an obscure reference. But I also kind of love the fact that with this, we've pointed out a few parallels between a few of the new Treks seem to have taken from the same well. So kind of the description Romulus has been used in different ones, for instance, and the kind of androids uprising. Here you get another callback. This, you know, because in Prodigy, you of course had the Margel, who was a Vulcan who wanted to be more human, who kind of like basically got a bit of a species crush on humans, and you kind of got the same here. So it's kind of I don't think they've nicked off each other, but it's funny how these parallels.
Well, she got transferred, didn't she, for being illogical?
Yes, she did.
Which apparently they wanted to in Enterprise. They wanted to have it in the end that T'Pol was somehow half human or something because of her parents. I'm glad they didn't go down that. Well, this is an article I read.
I'm glad they didn't go down there.
I haven't heard about this still recently. I think it was something like Den of Geeks, so I'd take it with a pinch of salt, but they claim there was an interview which she did.
Now, Den of Geek used to be good back in the day.
It used to be amazing. Anyway. I used to have it like, I would follow their Twitter at the time feed. Twitter when it was good. Speaking of things which used to be good, I'd follow their feed religiously. I would never miss an article, and then it turned into a dumpster fire.
I think it was when Simon Brew edited it. It was very good. He now does the Film Stories website and magazine, so that's of a similar standard to what Den of Geek used to be.
I'll have to look them up.
So yeah, that more or less wraps up the episode. Tendy's back where she belongs at the end, and you get a nice reunion between everybody.
And you've also got the Tendy's sister. I can't remember her name.
I can't remember. Yeah, it's
Devana.
Erica.
Erica. Erica has now got the Orions as her slaves.
Yes.
So they're Orion slave men.
Yeah.
Nice. And I think just as sexy as the Orion slave girls myself. But,
of course. And speaking of the Orions then, our third episode is back to we'll call it the origin story. It's the origin story of the Orions. It's not the origin story of the Orions. And just before we went on air, me and Elliot were having a brief discussion about this, and quite often when we've gone back to the animated series for the podcast, I've been pleasantly surprised by the episodes. Some of them are really well written, and there's a lot more substance to them.
And some are great because they're like an acid trip. Some of them are great because they're an acid trip as well.
Yeah. This one, it's there.
It's basically we've
like actually a real strange thing about this is it's actually a season premiere. We're doing season premiere
technically,
tonight,
yes.
So
that's a good shout. Yeah, that's a good shout. But also, I think it's the fact that we've already much better trod this ground with Spock, like the episode with his dad, where he would speak to him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're estranged and they just like. Yeah. But for them, it's absolutely fine, and he's dying in that episode. Like, you've got higher stakes for the same stakes, but just better explored.
Yeah, it's a weird setup. It's almost like two ideas lumped together. Like we'll have Spock having a disease, and we'll have this Orion business. Now, and the two don't really mesh.
It's like this. like I wonder when you see this if it was maybe meant to be 2 stories, and then they suddenly found out, oh, you're only getting 6 episodes.
Maybe you don't know. I mean,
started mushing bits together.
The thing is, like, these are only 25 minutes, but this felt a long 25 minutes compared to the Lower Decks episodes.
There wasn't a lot of subs. There's not a lot.
There isn't. It's so basically Spock passes out. It's a deadly disease. They have to get the cure, and there's this really weird conversation between Kirk and McCoy. Like, he goes, "Well, that's that far away, and it'll take us this long to get there." And Kirk's like, "Oh, we're knackered then. There's nothing we can do." And McCoy goes, well, "What about if we rendezvous with someone?" And Kirk's like, "Whoa,
what a great idea!"
Because I don't want to give. I'm going to be very, very careful because not everyone might have watched this, but they released a clip of Strange New Worlds. There is something similarly which drives me nuts. That it's like, sorry, it took someone else to point it out. I'm not going to say what it is. I'm not going to give any context, no spoilers. But there's something. Someone makes a suggestion to Pike, and it's like, sorry, no one thought of that until this was like that should just instantly be done. But anyway, that's again, I'm keeping it very vague.
This is like the idea of, well, we could meet someone halfway. It's just bizarre. And then Kirk gets on the comm thing, and I've written this down. He goes, "Kirk to bridge, get me Starfleet Lieutenant." What? Or is it meant to be? For once, there's meant to be a pause, and Shatner's not done it. Yeah, it's meant to be get me Starfleet Lieutenant. Yeah,
I think it's meant to be get me Starfleet Lieutenant.
But the way he says it is
like you say. Yeah. For once, Shatner hasn't done the pause, and you normally can't say 2 words about pause.
Yeah, but it sounds like he's saying, "Get me Starfleet Lieutenant," whatever on earth that means.
Do you know what? I'm piecing it together from what you two have said. I think what happened was he read it wrong, as you say, like Starfleet Lieutenant, and no one's bothered to reshoot it because they didn't give a fuck, as we pre-discussed.
And also, bear in mind, in 73 with this, like through TOS, they were still establishing and changing rules on a regular basis of what Starfleet was and Federation was.
True, yeah.
So by animated series is reading it, it's probably going, they've changed the fucking mind again, and now I have to ask for Starfleet.
Yeah, probably. And like you say, they probably didn't have a director who was really on the ball and getting him to redo it.
I'm willing to bet. Like, I think you're being very generous, Elliot. I think it was like, Starfleet Lieutenant. Yeah, good enough. Yeah, whatever, Bill. Go home. We just went with you all day. We tried to teach you how to use the word sabotage, which he says in this episode, which made me giggle endlessly because of the famous clip online that goes, sabotage. Well, I said sabotage. Maybe it's from this episode. Maybe this is why they went, oh, fuck it. Okay, he just said Starfleet Lieutenant. He got the words right. We don't care about the episode. So let's move on, Bill.
Yeah,
that's my theory.
Moving on. Look, well, okay, it's Friday afternoon. We all want to be in the pub. Yeah. He said the words. Let's go.
It's 4:55. We ain't doing this again. We finish at 5. Let's wrap it and get a pint.
Now, I know it's not because it's animation, but when we see the USS Huron, if that was in live action, that'd be a kit bash because it's got warper nacelles stuck out of this side.
Oh, God,
it's got bits coming off it over here.
It's got a letter after the NCC, which never happens. Like, that blew my mind. I'm like, that goes against every rule we know.
It just looks really odd.
It's very bizarre. But you've got this... This happens right through the animated series with the ships. There's very few. It's because a lot of it through the TOS, there wasn't a lot of other ships established because they literally didn't have the budget for the models because it's physical.
Yeah, exactly.
So literally the only Federation ships we've ever seen in the original series have been Constitution class or shuttlecraft.
Yeah, exactly.
So they had to make it up and think, oh, this is a cargo thing, right? Trucks are right rectangular and all that. And rules hadn't been established for registries and all that, and it hadn't been
that's it.
Worked out what all these letters mean. NCC, what does NCC mean? And
well, we still don't know officially what that
No.
means. It's only like fan theories as to what it means. But even so, this is a bizarre design.
Sorry. Rose Kirby's comments just come on the screen. So everyone's looking forward to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning for episode 2. Specifically 9 a.m.
Right.
I didn't know that was
usually it drops at 9. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have to work in the office on a Thursday, so I actually start work at 9 a.m. and it's really sus if I turn my laptop to watching Paramount Plus. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that can be a problem.
And my work laptop won't actually even connect to there because there's so much security on the bloody thing. So I'll be watching it about 5:30, 6 o'clock tomorrow night.
I'll be watching tomorrow night.
And I'm working from home, so I would never dream to do anything other than work. So I like to just cross that rumor. I respect my job too much. Thank you.
But yeah, then we get the Orions finally turn up, and Kirk basically decide. I don't know whether this was going to turn out to be one of Kirk's classic bluffs, but he effectively just goes, "We'll give you all the dilithium you want. We'll even give you extra dilithium."
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Well, the Orions take out the other shit, don't they?
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought.
Well, I think he's just bothered about Spock.
He is.
But this is the thing. I think this calls back to what we were saying before, though. I reckon they were like, right, Bill, this really dramatic moment. You're worried about Spock. Goes like, you can have all the dilithium you want. He's going, yeah, sure.
I'll even give you more than you've got.
I'll give you more dilithium than you want. Brilliant, fine, whatever. It's a pub. I've got one waiting behind the bar for me.
And the Orion is gonna double cross them, and then we get that great line where he goes, "All unsuccessful Orion missions end in suicide." Okay, that's for a kid's Saturday morning cartoon. That's a bit of a wild swing to put out there, I think.
And this is a U.
Yeah. This kind of
classes a U.
But mind you, I think that's because no one's bothered their asses to watch it to re-certificate it. It's like Trekkies are fine. As soon as one of them complains, we might have a look at it. But
it's one of those things that just shows you the difference between what we could watch in the 70s as kids, and was perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
But what's really strange, if you go to your adult movies, what
porn?
What used to be rated X for adult. You can now watch as a 12-year-old.
Oh, yeah. You're right. It's interesting.
That applies to porn too. They've got the internet. 12-year-olds can get older easy.
That's
Lucky bastards.
I think it's...
Great to say I'm over 18. Yeah, sure I am.
It's the Disney effect. Disney wants everything to just meet in the middle as a 12A because that's the one that you make the most money out of.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to say though is with the suicide thing of it, I don't think that this was their thinking, but they really set up the badassness of Orions in this episode, for the likes of Tendi and the pirates and all that.
In a way, it's a shame that we didn't get that played out in Lower Decks. That as soon as Tendi destroyed that thing, they all fell on the swords or whatever.
Yeah, they should have done, to be fair.
Can we also just talk about the fact that, in these episodes, it's these kind of campy blue, Orions. You've got other ones in the original series, which are Orion slave girls. And Discovery goes no, they can literally barbecue and explode people. That's who they are. It's it's badass, but fucking hell. Give them the source material. They went for a swing in Discovery. I think it was really, really successful. I don't know if I need it to be that bloody, though.
I mean, in many ways, we're learning that the Orions / Orions are one of the most complex Star Trek races we've ever had. And I believe it was all intentional. It's nothing to do with bad continuity and people making it up as they go along.
To be fair, I think
there is a rich history.
I think Enterprise, when it made it that it was the women who rule the society.
That was pretty cool.
Previously, that they flipped things on the head, opened up for what Lower Decks is able to do.
And didn't they also do I swear in the dialogue somewhere here, in Lower Decks, it suggested that the reason why they were blue was some sort of like biological. I'm sure they said something about the conditions.
I think they do, yeah.
They made some sort of reference to why, a la the Klingons changed their forwards.
Yeah.
I wonder if this genetic mutation, which happened to make these particular Orions blue, also led to them being incredibly shiny in about 1,000 years.
Maybe. I mean, we'll let it go because you meant to say Orions then, not Orions.
Sorry, Orions, but you know we've since learned, like with the Vulcans and the Klingons, there's shared ancestry. That's all I'm saying.
To be fair, Tandy does call them out. So does Erica.
Yeah.
When we just say it properly, it's Orion.
yeah.
I that's just so much fun. And like, say what you like about the animated series, there was some batshit stuff which, like, this episode, sometimes it didn't land, but when it goes really trippy and weird, like that other one we watched with Uhura kind of say take us in stage, it was fucking weird. It was so weird. It was just
the one with the devil. I don't think we've got to that one yet.
Was there any drugs they didn't take in the writing room for those episodes? Like, and it's great for it.
It was the 70s.
That's the last episode of season
God,
one. The devil one.
So this episode, Megas 2 or something, yeah. So this episode wraps up. They manage to cure Spock, and they do the classic TOS laugh ending.
You do have Bones that's really pissed off that Spock won't commend him for saving his life.
Yes. I mean, there's some decent dialogue between the leads.
I was going to say, they also have the, again, it's that whole thing of like, they're just saying something which was already said in the original series a lot better. But it's like when you get McCoy going, it's like, I know I take the piss out of him, but I'm really careful, that green-blooded wanker. You know, it's like, it was just the most wooden version of it, though. It's, you know, I get what you're getting at, but I mean, again, it's a swing and a miss. I don't think it's awful, this episode, but it just doesn't really do what it's
just
meaning to.
Not a lot to it at all. Go on, Elliot.
I'm just NC1.
What? NCC 1701? Do you mean? Is the extra 7? I don't know what the extra 7 is.
I'm not sure.
The episode called the Enterprise now in mythology of Star Trek is actually the Enterprise, which is
it was the NX-01.
01.
Yeah.
So technically, that was the first ever one. If you've done with ships, though, there have been sailing ships as well. It depends on where you go back to.
Yeah.
We will wrap up there then. Now we've covered the Pirates of Orion, and we will be back next week to talk more Lower Decks. In the meantime. Go on.
I was about to say we don't know what the episode is yet.
Nope, we don't know what the episode is or what episode we'll cover alongside.
And as you maybe noticed, we've done the Pirates of Orion tonight. We will pick up a reference from the episode, and that will be covered alongside, because we have picked up quite a lot of new subscribers since Lower Decks. We've doubled our subscriber base, so there's new people watching us all the time.
It's so much fun as well. We just pick out a reference. Yeah, and it sends you in so many weird and wonderful directions. And sometimes we get some wonderful episodes back to back. Every now and again, though, they decide they hate us, and we've got to cover the worst episodes of Star Trek ever. And there's like 4 in a row, and we want to kill someone.
And let's be honest, we did that the other week with the Chakotay episodes. So we shall see.
Reduce some good ones.
In the meantime, you can get in touch with us. We're at RetrekPod. We're retrekpod@gmail.com. We're on all the socials, including Retrek Model Studios on YouTube.
Just watch the past catalogue until I get
check out the back catalogue on there. And Dr. Squee, what's going on with the Dr. Squee show?
Well, you and I continue our look back at Twin Peaks. You can see our look at the first series and part 1 of the second series. Jim, you good for this Sunday at some point to talk about part 2?
More than likely. We will sort out a time. time. Yeah.
Well, yeah, to be announced, but follow us on youtube.com/Dr. Squee or our Facebook page, and we will keep you updated with when we're going to be talking some more Twin Peaks for Halloween month. And
thanks for trekking with us this time. We will see you next time on the Retrek.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Drag off Orion style.
Fascinating.